Right, so this lick has two concepts we're going to talk about. The first one being something we've discussed a few times before, but it's something we're going to keep repeating a little bit and showing different examples because they're all completely different. But it's the way Guthrie moves around the fretboard. Now again, we keep repeating this because it's a huge staple in the way he gets his sound to be so much different than everybody else. And it never sounds like he's playing, just simple patterns. So he's going to travel in this lick from here to the 5th fret. So like the 22nd fret, 20th fret to the 5th fret. And he does it in a way where he doesn't make any large leaps, and he also doesn't repeat patterns. So it's not like he goes 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1. He's flipping notes around. He sits on a note. In this pattern, he goes to the 12th fret around there, and he stops for a second, and he just starts phrasing with a few notes in that area, and then he continues walking down. So again, it's not a pattern of just going down, 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 down. He goes down, up, then down, then he stays in one section for a little while. And so if you really analyze the notation, you'll see this pattern in the flow. So this idea basically goes like this. So you see how he's doing all these different patterns. At first he's just hammering on notes, or he's actually pulling off notes, total opposite. And then he bends a note, and that's all on the E string. Then he pivots off of 2 notes. Then he does this little sequence where he goes up a note, skips a few notes, hammers on a note, and then pulls off on the other. Or he actually just goes down to another note on the next string. And even there, you could take that little concept and play around with it. Right? And make up your own little licks. But that's kind of a sidetrack. But then he keeps walking down this, and here he slides into this 12 or 13th fret area. So he goes. And then in this 13th to 15th fret, he starts just playing around with notes, bending notes. He just sticks in there for a minute. And then he starts doing this, pivoting off of back and forth notes. Or hammering on notes and then going down a scale. Then he starts doing that whole slide thing. But the thing to take notice, he could have just taken this whole pattern and done that, and just done this little sequence. And that would have worked him down to the 5th fret. But the point here is everything's completely different. He does one little thing for a second, then he changes, and maybe he may revisit that little motif further down the line, but it just keeps switching up, and that gets him to this point of the fretboard. So for the second concept here, we're going to talk just a little bit of theory. Now, don't get too worried. We're not diving crazy into anything weird, but it's actually a real simple, basic concept of how a lot of guys hear Guthrie play over altered chords, or they'll just hear some outside notes and they'll say, what's going on there? And this is an easy concept to use to get some of those outside tones, especially over an altered chord, which is the case here. Guthrie's playing over an A7 altered chord. Okay, so it's just really an A7 chord with a raised degree to give it an altered sound. We're not going to worry about what that degree is, but basically the altered tones in a scale are flat 9, sharp 9, flat 5, sharp 5, okay? Now, what you can do is you can play a minor pentatonic down a whole step from an altered chord. So here you have A7 altered, and you can play G minor pentatonic. You can actually throw in the flat 5 too, right, of G minor. And that's exactly what Guthrie's doing here. And the lick that he actually plays is then he gets into some other stuff. But what's going on? Again, he's just playing G minor pentatonic, and he's just pulling off to that open string on the G string. Then he's sliding between that 5th and 6th fret, which is the flat 5. And he's going down to the root note on the D string, 5th fret, the G note, the root of G, which is the pentatonic we're playing, but it's actually the flat 7 of A. And the reason why this works is if you analyze quickly the scale over the chord or over the root note A, you're getting the flat 7 with G. The second note in the G minor pentatonic scale is giving you the flat 9, which is in B flat over A. The next note is giving you a sharp 9. The next note is an 11 or a 4. And the next note here is a sharp 5. Okay? So that's giving you 3 out of the 4 altered sounds on this chord. So it just sounds really, really cool. And it's a really easy concept to use. Again, any chord you think of, if you think of, say you play a D7, right? D7 altered. Well, to get those altered sounds, just play a minor pentatonic scale down a whole step. So you're going to go from D to C. Right? And you'll get those altered tones. Really easy concept. You could use all your standard licks pretty much and just try and resolve eventually back to the home chord.